core to it. And therefore, over the past few decades of Islamic finance development, the focus has basically, and we have to understand that this is the practical aspect of Islamic finance, the focus has been on, firstly, on compliance and financial stability at its foundation. And now, I believe that the foundation has been set over the past 3 to 4 decades. We have set the foundation, and it's time now to have a shift in mindset, right? Islamic finance is already, I think, there is already a lot of effort to move Islamic finance towards sustainability and impact, and this conference itself is a proof of this happening. In Malaysia, for example, if I can share, the Malaysian Islamic Finance Leadership Council has set the direction for the industry, whereby the priority now, they say, should focus on moving beyond halal into tayyib, halal and tayyiban. So in the near future, basically, or currently, the effort is already being made in Malaysia. And one of the efforts we can say is, or we can highlight, is the value-based intermediation by the Central Bank of Malaysia. And we've also seen quite a number of Islamic finance products that is related to sustainability. We have the Green Sukuk. I believe we also have Wakaf-based investment that is related to social housing. We have SRI Sukuk and sustainability-linked Sukuk. So these are some of the efforts that Malaysia has undertaken when it comes to sustainability. And basically, it shows that we are already in that right direction of moving beyond compliance to also providing some impact. And the second point, if I may, is related to I believe why we think we are lagging behind when it comes to sustainability is because actually we are quite humble. Humble, why? Because we are actually not reporting our true impact when it comes to Islamic finance. Because we have to remember, Islamic finance is not only about Islamic banking. Other components of Islamic finance, for example, zakat, waqaf, sadaqah, has for a long time throughout the Islamic history has provided social impact, is inherently sustainable. However, we have not marketed it properly. We have not showcased that these efforts are actually impactful and sustainable. We have lagged behind in terms of promoting our efforts, and I believe that's why we think that we are lagging behind on sustainability. So therefore, these institutions of zakat and waqaf and sadaqah must be empowered, especially when it comes to the reporting, when it comes to impact measurement and management. There must be efforts to showcase that this is actually part of Islamic finance, and we must also blend these Islamic social finance efforts with Islamic banking. And one last point is with regards to the effort that we make must truly show social impact. And one of the ways to know is basically, I believe one of the speakers in the morning, he mentioned, is whether we feel the impact, whether the customers feel the impact. So you have to go on the ground and ask whether they feel that Islamic finance have provided positive impact to them in order for us to truly say that we are going beyond halal into tayyib efforts. So that's my points for the first round. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Syed Marwan. You know, whenever we talk about this issue about sustainability and Islamic finance, and you know, so there are a lot of arguments, there are a lot of misconceptions, and like Dr. Syed has mentioned, we are not doing enough, we are not promoting enough, we are not creating a narrative for Islamic finance. Maybe the question that I should also ask the audience and all the experts in the room, why not? Why not we were able to create a better narrative for Islamic finance? How come sustainability can create a better narrative for Islamic finance? For themselves. Easier. If you want to do reporting for sustainability, easy. We know what to do. What is the objective of sustainability? We know. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. How to measure those? We know. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. So if you talk to the banker, how to do sustainability, okay, this is the guidebook. But I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. But if you really want to, let's say, do bank conversions, you need to go and search for the experts. If you want to do this, you need to basically go and... So my argument would be, like what Dr. Said would say, is that the simplification process of Islamic finance hasn't taken place. In fact, before we complete one stage, for example, even we complete, let's say, VBI in Malaysia, people already start talking about Maqasid framework, next one. And then before we complete the Maqasid framework, we already start talking about halal and tayyiban, which is amazing. But the clear documentation of the transitions and how it should be done should also be, I would say, expedite as well, so that, the doing things would be simpler. So now going to Dr. Azrin, we should welcome him. This is his first trip to Pakistan, so we should welcome him. He's traveled all the way to Brunei. I'm like welcoming him as if I'm a Pakistani. I'm not, but I've been so many times, so I think I can tell him a little bit a story about Pakistan as well. So Dr. Azrin, so we hear about not doing enough, right? Okay, we are not doing enough, we are not promoting enough, there is no clear narrative and everything. So from your experience, right, so how do you differentiate now? So how do we tell people that actually Islamic finance is better than sustainability? Sustainability is just a small component of Islamic finance. So how we create this better narrative? So please go ahead. Thank you.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah wa salatu wassalam syafi anbiya mursalin sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wa hlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Thank you, Mr. Chair, Dr. Chair. And I also like to thank Minhaj University for organizing this event. And again, this is a humbling experience, sitting in front of the scholars and also the panel expertise. So basically, coming back to your question, when we talk about Islamic finance and how do we differentiate this with the conventional counterpart, initially when we introduce Islamic finance, we say that Islamic finance is actually a substitute or a complement or another option for conventional finance. And I think once we take this, it seems that people take that if this is an option, we have to follow conventional finance. Then it will suit the objective that replacing Islamic conventional finance through Islamic mediators. And this idea has been sticking a long time. When Islamic finance was introduced, an example in Brunei, our experiences when it was first introduced, most of the bankers says there will be no banks. How are we going to introduce an Islamic bank where loan is prohibited? They have been so long in the conventional banking system that they only know that if we are looking at profit for banking institution, it should be by loan. And this strikes quite hard, especially in Brunei when it is said that this has to be implemented top-down. So this is mandated by the government. The government says we have seen the success of Islamic banks outside of Brunei. Brunei should have that as one of the obligations of Muslims. And they take it in. And when we do this, the easiest is to convert all of this conventional product into an Islamic substitute. And with this in hand, in mind, most of the training, most of the product is actually replicating conventional product. And this is where we see one of the reasons why it is now hard to actually inform the customers, inform the stakeholders that actually Islamic finance is different in itself. It is not conventional finance, it has a root, it has some objective, but this is not seen. And throughout the system, when we try to see that, yes, this is something new, we have to make sure that people understand it, but we go to some extreme. As the moderator has said, we go for different standard, then we go to maqasid, and then we say that this is another level of halal and tayyiban. People got confused. What they see is, we coining all of these different terms, but the products are still the same. Why are there no differences in this? And this sticks to the mind. And for me, if we are talking this, especially when we look at ESG and sustainability, it's easier for them to move because for conventional finance, when they talk about different new product, different new areas, it is something new. And they prove it. They say that no, we are no longer just looking for profit, we are concentrating on sustainability. Everybody start to rush in. This is another avenue that we have. But when Islamic finance started to say that, yes, we also do ESG, we also do sustainability, people are skeptical on that. So if you look at the statistic, not many people wants to jump into Islamic finance products. And when we actually evaluate this further, it seems that when we coin Islamic finance into all of this product, we are always one step behind the conventional side. So when they look for products and we introduce now sustainability product or Islamic finance product, they feel that this is just a replicate. This is just an extension. And if I were already in the sustainability investment in the first place, what difference does that make that we are taking Islamic finance product? And we do not see this. But if you were looking deeply into this, when we introduce Islamic finance product, it has some objective. And this objective has never been gone up. When we introduced the Islamic finance product, we never highlighted that the objective of this product is actually to achieve the maqasid Sharia. We do not put that into our marketing material. We do not put that into the understanding of the customers, the understanding of the bankers. We highlighted this is the new area, it's sustainability, people investing to it, they are doing well, we are performing well. And that is what sticks rather than the Islamic side. And looking at it, if you were to put further narrative, a good example is to actually give some of this win situation through Islamic finance. If we can bring that in, that will be very good to them. They will understand how Islamic finance actually works and how does it differs from the conventional side, right? On our side, we have a bank, which is a small bank, micro bank, Bank Usahawan. So people are expecting that they will be producing good products to the masses. So when it was introduced, it introduced the element of murabaha, the contract of murabaha, and people start to compare. This is equivalent to what conventional bank is doing. So where is the gist in this? But what they did was, at that point of time, murabaha is just one of the product available. So they move into a product of musyarakah. So they see that if this client is given a financing of murabaha, they have to pay at the end of the month. But they have looked at several clients which actually do not perform tomorrow. So if I have some financial issues, you are giving me the finance, the funding. If I were to just pay off tomorrow, I would not need the funding in the first place, right? So they observed the trend of all of these clients and they converted the murabaha financing into musyarakah financing, where they do not collect anything until the business is sustainable. And after 10 months, the business actually grow and share a large amount of profit with the bank. And in 2 years, they are very independent from the bank. And we saw that this is a success story. So in the narration of Islamic finance, if we can have this success story, that would be a very good narration, especially in the case of sustainability. Yep, I'll end there.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Listening to, all these experts, right? I keep wondering myself. I've been doing Islamic finance for 13 years. So the question is that, have we done enough? Have we done a simple narrative? Are we able to communicate this message? How good we are, how, maybe in zakat we have done a lot, but maybe we're not able to tell the right story. So this is something for us, all of us, to ponder and see how much that we can improve collectively. For me, one of the reasons sustainability is quite successful because the movement was collective, and they were attacking it at all fronts: regulation, institution, reporting, financing, everything. They were attacking all fronts. And when it comes to Islamic finance, we're trying to tackle the issue like piece by piece. We're still talking about human capital issue. Imagine after 20 years, and we're still talking about human capital issue. So the train has to move faster. That's exactly my point. All right. Now we have listened to two academicians. The beauty about this panel is that we have academician, and then in the middle we put a regulator, and then we have Sharia scholar. We have also have practitioner, which is a fantastic lineup that we have now. So let's go to Brother Majid, also a good friend, know for a while and been passionate about Islamic finance in Iran. So brother, as a regulator and as a practitioner, so how do you feel that, this agenda of sustainability, how do you implement in your, in Iran especially? Iran is always 100% Islamic anyway. So how you create this, okay, we're doing Islamic and now, sustainability, maybe it's a Western agenda, is it a good thing, So how do you do it as a practitioner? So I just make it broad so that you can, you can tackle it in many angles. So Brother Majid, over to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, brother. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, wassalatu wassalamu ala ashraf al-anbiya wal-mursaleen, wa habibi ilahi al-alameen, Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi al-muntajabeen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. At the beginning of this ceremony, we listened to the national anthem of Pakistan. Sarzameen Pak Shad Bad. And different segments, which was very interesting. Very interestingly, it was in Persian. How many of you who are sitting here, you can understand Persian? Raise your hand, please. How many of you can understand Persian? Very good. Okay. Actually, I was expecting more, but that's reasonable. Probably you have heard about an Iranian poet, which is by Hafiz Shirazi. Let me tell it to you and talk about sustainability. How many of you are Muslims? How many Muslims? MashaAllah, MashaAllah, very good. Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah. Definitely, who are Muslims, many of you can understand Arabic as well, because when you recite Qali Quran or Dua Adiyah, you understand Arabic. This poem, half is in Arabic, half is in Persian. Ala ya ayyuha as-saqi adr ka'san wa nawilha ke ishq asan nemud awwal wali uftad mushkilha. The first part, which is Arabic, Ala ya ayyuha as-saqi adr ka'san wa nawilha. It means that, hey, you who bring always the goods, please bring me a cup of good drinks and make it full. And in the second part, it says that the love, ishq, the love made it as if it is simple, but it was difficult. When you love something, at the beginning it seems that it is very easy. But when you go in deep, it would seem that it is very difficult. This is whatever I mentioned to you. The story of sustainability and Islamic finance is the same. We initiated Islamic finance in Iran. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We initiated Islamic finance in Iran around 45 years ago. And now the market volume for sukuk is around $17 billion for sukuk. But it is very challenging, really. I am from the capital market regulator. If a company in Iran wants to issue sukuk, it should have our license, permission for issuance. When we talk about sustainability, when we talk about environment, when we talk about governance, they say, okay, forget it. Let me have money, and then, inshallah, I will protect the environment later. But this is exactly the same story. Ishq asan nemud awwal. If you are in love, at the beginning, it seems very easy. Wali uftad mushkilha. So the case of sustainability is the case that it is really very challenging in Iran, in the Iran financial system. Unfortunately, one of our very important challenges is in terms of sustainability, the environment, the social issues and also the protection. Let me share with you something that might be interesting for you. Many of you are academics, many of you are students. There is a specific instrument in the developed capital market which is called as carbon emission trading. Carbon emission trading. And in Iran, we introduced a Sharia-compliant model for such instrument after long debates. Actually, it was not easy, but carbon emission trading is a good platform for companies who respect to environment. It is not yet implemented in Iran capital market, but we are at the initial steps for launching that. And then, and my final point is about Dr. Hussein Muhyiddin Al-Qadri. During his lecture, he mentioned about the importance of taking and considering the Islamic finance comprehensively. It is not only about financing, it's also about the social issues as well. And that's very important, very important. When we talk about sustainability and Islamic finance, I believe that sustainability is not something apart from Islamic finance. That's something inside Islamic finance. Why? Many of you, as you mentioned, are Muslims. If you look at holy verses of Quran about Islamic finance, you will not find even one verse about how to make a deal with Muzaraba, with Juala, with Murabaha, nothing. But if you look at Holy Quran, in different verses you will find about the importance of infaq. Infaq. In several verses you hear about infaq. What's the story? The story is that when you infaq, when you make infaq, when you make the charity, when you respect the other's rights, it is something inherently located inside the Islamic capital market. So, as Professor Dr. Hussein Qadri correctly indicated, Islamic finance is much more than financing. There are many elements located in it, and as I mentioned you, actually I was researching in Holy Quran about Islamic finance, and I found that in Holy Quran you will not find even one verse about Murabaha, about Muzaraba, but in many cases about infaq. So that's the story that I believe that if we really care about Islamic finance, we will find that it is a comprehensive model, and sustainability, I believe that it is an element located in Islamic finance. And as you know, in Iran, we are now focusing on carbon emission tradings, a good instrument for financial instruments, and inshallah, we will develop it in the capital market. Jazakumullah khaira wa assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Thank you so much, Brother Majid. Thank you so much. You know, I might forget many things from this conference, maybe after a few months, but I will never forget that poem. You know, Islamic finance and sustainability is just like love. It's difficult at the early stage, but when you go, it's easy at the early stage. All right? When you go deep, then you will see the difficulty. But by the way, for all the young people, this one doesn't apply to marriage, so don't get confused. It's only apply to Islamic finance and sustainability. Okay, so now we have listened to, Brother Majid, he gave the eye view of the regulator, he see how things are moving forward. So carbon emission is a classic example of, innovations when it comes to sustainability. In fact, Malaysia is also doing it. In fact, many countries will benefit from these carbon emissions. Those days forest is a liability, but today forest you can make a lot of money out of it. So you don't have to burn down the forest to make money. You can keep them, and people are willing to pay for it, especially all the European countries with these carbon emissions. So now let's go to a banker. So the one who actually do things, the one who actually see the customers. The pressure is always for them to push this agenda of sustainability. So, you have the questions, but let me just rephrase, Sustainability, profit, impact, social responsibility, this debate of what a bank should be, all right, and what should be the main agenda. And, capitalism, socialism, Islamism, and, a lot of debates are going on. So how you navigate this, as a banker, what is the discussion that going on within banks, and how do you prioritize yourself? profit, impact, and so we like to hear your perspective. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sikandar. I'm humbled to take opinion or comments of a banker towards this audience. First of all, we need to discuss that if Islamic finance or social focus or environmental focus impacts profitability of any bank, well, it is a debatable point. We will try to discuss and conclude it here. To be a social, to have a social focus, first of all, we need to be human-centric. For being a human-centric, first of all, you have to offer products which are beneficial to general public and to underprivileged customers, underprivileged people. Secondly, you have to treat them well. You have to treat them with equity. You have to finance them with equity. You have to focus on financial literacy. You have to focus on banking to unbanked areas. So, from multiple ways, you can be beneficial to the society while making profit. So, in this regard, I am taking example of my bank, Mizan Bank. We are focusing on social impacts, and ultimately it is having positive impact on our profitability in short term, and it has multiplier effect in the longer run. In short term, obviously, the customer, if I am more inclined to him and more focused on him, obviously, he will ultimately come to me, and ultimately it will increase my profitability, ultimately. Secondly, there may be a misconception that being social means that I have to flood money with zero return or with negligible return. It is not the case. I can be social and can also be a profit-taking organization. So there is a mixed blend in it. And obviously, we have success story of microfinance banks with this regard, and they are obviously focusing low income groups, but they are making money. So this misconception should be avoided that we are focusing on social needs or we are more social, then obviously it will impact our profitability. That may not be the case. Secondly, if we consider Islamic financial institutions, they have access to a fund, charity fund or zakat fund, obviously, which does not impact its profitability, and they use these funds for social needs, for social activities, for education purpose, for social uplifting, for health needs. These funds are derived from mainly our late payment charges or the incomes which are non-compliant. These are routed towards those funds, and they are ultimately used towards these social needs. So the main point that being social, it impacts our profitability, that may not be the case. Secondly, if I am being social, I may be more focused towards, for example, I am social, I am giving more rate of return to senior citizens, to widows, to my my housewives. So obviously I am more inclined, and also I am making money, and also I am more being social. And if we think as a society, Islamic banks avoid things which are not good for society. For example, we don't invest in cigarette companies, alcoholic consumption companies, and We avoid being financial we avoid vulgarity, financing to which are more inclined to vulgarity. So in multiple ways, we try to being more towards social impact. In environment, we are also more focused. Being environment friendly doesn't mean that one day we have to wake up and say that from now onwards I won't sign deals, your proposals which are which are impacting environment or negatively impacting environment. It is a basically evolutionary stage. It evolves over time, like Islamic finance. Islamic finance did not abruptly introduce or increase. It evolved with time. Similarly, environmental focus also evolves over time. For example, if we take example of Pakistan, currently we have solar boom. Companies, industries, they are moving towards solar systems. Individuals, they are moving towards solar systems. So, and these are being financed by financial institutions. So, ultimately, in multiple ways, banks are environmentally focused, yes. And also, if we take example of clean transport, it is obviously expensive. So it is not being financed in a longer way. So we also focus on grower finance, agriculture finance, animal finance, and we have tailor-made products for these specific areas, so that these are our food needs are ultimately impacted, and we have a positive environmental impact on these. In case banks don't majorly focus on these, we have other options also. Our society, like Dr. Amjad Saqib Sahab, they have focused on microfinance needs. It's also responsibility of governments, regulators, and central banks to implement effective policies towards these for promotion of Islamic banking, for being more social and being more environmental.
Thank you so much. That's the Mizan, the presentation from Mizan Bank. I think I know the largest Islamic bank in Pakistan. Congratulations for this outstanding achievement.
Thank you.
So now, in the interest of time, I actually want to have a lot more questions, but I was told that we have to finish in 5 minutes, right? So that's why I always make a joke. It takes 7 hours to fly to Pakistan to speak for 7 minutes. But we have to have a lot of things to say. But let's move to Maulana Said Mazhar. Since you are the last speaker, maybe we can conclude with some optimism, right? So if we move away from the semantics, are we part of sustainability, or are we within sustainability, or are we inherently sustainability? So let us forget about semantics for a while and say, okay, how come we going to be better? How are we going to become the leader? What should we do? All right, so tell us, Maulana, please go ahead. You have 4 or 5 minutes, so I'm sorry. Yeah.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وبه نستعين إنه خير ناصر ومعين اللهم وفقنا لما تحب وترضى والصلاة والسلام والتحية والإكرام على سيدنا مولانا محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين وصحبهم المنتجبين أما بعد السلام عليكم جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته. First of all, I would like to thank Mr. Professor Dr. Hussain Muhyiddin Qadri, Dr. Sajid Mahmood Shehzad, and the Registrar, Mr. Khurram Shehzad, for giving me this wonderful opportunity. And your whole team deserves a huge round of applause for making this program possible. as I'm instructed that I have 4 to 5 minutes, so I would like to make only 4 to 5 comments. But since I'm also called Maulana, when we say we are just completing in 2 minutes, we take 20 minutes. So, Sifar, we can add by ourselves. First of all, first thing, Islamic finance, by its nature, built on ethical, social, and environmental responsibilities. So, sustainability is an integral part of Islamic finance, and we cannot separate Islamic finance with sustainability. If someone is doing so, I think there is a problem with his mindset. Why I'm saying this? Because we have been studying Maqasid al-Sharia, not from 100 years, but from start. As we saw from Sheikh al-Suduq, who wrote the book Ilal al-Shara'i first. This book is 1000 years ago. And he talked about what is the illat of Shariat. What is the reason behind this specific Sharia ruling. What Sharia want to achieve by this ruling. When we believe that Allah is Hakim, so every instruction which is coming from Allah, it contains hikmat. It is also a ta'abbud, but it contains hikmat as well. So Maqasid al-Sharia, as talked by Imam Ghazali, Al-Mustasfa fi Ilm al-Usul, or Imam Shatibi, Al-Muwafiqat, Allama Tahir ibn Ashur, Dr. Tahir Mansouri was here. He has written a booklet on Maqasid al-Sharia. So we should not differentiate in between Maqasid al-Sharia and Islamic finance. And in my humble opinion, making a contract or a transaction Sharia compliant ensures the sustainability of the contract. It means only making the contract compliant has its own blessings. For example, what I want to say, when we say as per Islamic rulings, you cannot sell the thing what you do not own. There cannot be a credit creation without any underlying assets. It has its impact. We have faced Great Depression, financial crisis. So if the whole system is Islamic based, it has its assets. So the sustainability comes with the Sharia. So you cannot say that after Sharia now we have to work on the sustainability. Yes, we can say this. The sustainability starts with the Sharia compliance, but it does not end with only Sharia compliance. So if we make the transaction compliant, so it's okay. No, we have to work a lot. As Dr. Hussain Muhyiddin Qadri was mentioning again and again, riba is a part of Sharia rulings. But riba is not only thing which is prohibited in Islam. We have to work on everything. One more thing. The relationship between Sharia and other system is not horizontal. We cannot say this is Sharia and this is SDGs by United Nations Agenda of 2030. The relation between Sharia and any other system is vertical. Sharia is surpassing every other system. So we have to extract all these things from Sharia. We have Quran, we have Hadith. We have to think again in an innovative manner. Number 5. Yes, you were asking some innovative thought process, practical approach, what we can do. Innovative financial products. Now 2 terms have been fancy terms. Anyone who want to become cool or he want to show some coolness, so he talks about 2 things, capacity building and product development. So these 2 terms have been fancy. What I want to say you, I asked ChatGPT, what should we do for innovative financial products? So the ChatGPT proposed me Qarzun Nikah. We should give loans for nikah. How many of you people have been married? So many. Everyone want to get married, but they are unable to finance their marriages. Mr. Samar Aslan was talking about the impact on general public. The word loan is really popular within the Islamic finance community. हम इसे उर्दू में कहते हैं कि बोलते सब हैं, देता कोई नहीं है. Everyone talks about loan, but nobody gives it. We should start giving Qarzul Hasana. How many banks are giving? This is the problem. I'm not saying that everyone should give 1 million. They can give at least 5,000 rupees. Most of the people, they are short of fund for 5,000, 10,000. They want to finance their daily expenses, but no one is offering them. So, riba is prohibited, but not qarz. وَمَنْ يُقْرِضُ اللَّهَ قَرْضًا حَسَنًا فَيُضَاعِفَهُ لَهُ أَضْعَافًا كَثِيرًا. The last point, how we can achieve this? Through financial inclusion. We have to work on financial inclusion. If I just start asking every one of you, how many of you have gotten the bank accounts? I believe 50% do not have any bank account. So we have to make them financially included in order to achieve the sustainable economic system as proposed by Dr. Hussain Muhyiddin Qadri. And I always prefer to come to this conference because I always learn personally so many things. Last time it was Muslim Common Waqf. This time it is National Fund for Islamic Finance Development. So once again, thank you so much for listening me carefully. I'm seeing that you people are listening very, very carefully. So thank you so much once again.
Thank you so much, Maulana. I actually have exceeded the time given to me by 5 minutes, but I would like to take some injury time. Is it okay, organizer? All right. We don't have to refer to VAR for injury time, so just 30 seconds, each panelist. Concluding remarks. So we'll start with Dr. Syed Marwan. Please go ahead.
Bismillah. My final point, I believe, in the pursuit of sustainability, Islamic finance has to take caution and learn from the mistakes of conventional ESG finance. When it comes to showcasing sustainability, everyone tries to showcase we are sustainable, we are impactful. But there's also the caution of greenwashing, sustainability washing, impact washing, and I think now maybe we have to also take caution in terms of maqasid washing. So this is maybe something that we have to think about. Thank you.
Nice term, huh? Maqasid washing. All right. Go ahead, Doctor, please.
Thank you. Just a brief note. I think what we need to do is especially to highlight Islamic finance to the masses. We, again, as what Professor Dr. Hussain was saying earlier, we have to look at procedural compliance as something which you should go away from. We should not just replicate any conventional products. And most importantly is, I know that it's easy to follow the mainstream, but for Islamic finance, I think it's time for us to actually be the one who's creating the mainstream. And with that, with the proper intention, I hope if we are looking at this properly, then Islamic finance would be growing better and develop better in the future.
Thank you so much, Doctor. Our poet, Brother Majid.
Okay,
Go ahead.
Thank you very much. I believe that if you look at Holy Quran verses about finance and how the financial system might be structured, we will find much more verses about social issues, infaq. And then I believe that sustainability is something integrated inside the Islamic finance. Jazakumullah.
Jazilan. Brother Said, final concluding remarks.
I would like to clarify that being more sustainable is actually more profitable. We should believe it, and we should be more focused on it. And our regulators, our governments, and our central banks should be more focused for creating more opportunities towards environmentally focused financings and social focused financings. Jazakallah.
Maulana?
My one recommendation is, so many good things we have heard. Kindly make financial products and services easy and approachable to each and everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Round of applause to our distinguished panelists. Thank you so much. Over to you, MC. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you so much, Dr. Saab. A round of applause for our esteemed panelists for such a thought-provoking session. I request Professor Dr. Hussain Muhyiddin Qadri, Deputy Chairman, Board of Governors, our worthy Vice Chancellor, Professor Dr. Sajid Mahmood Shahzad, and Professor Dr. Muhammad Ishaq Bhatti Saab, if he is here, to please join in front of the stage to award the shields to our esteemed panelists. Round of applause, everyone. First, Dr. Syed Marwan Mujahid Syed Azman. Round of applause since you have lunch. Dr. Muhammad Hairul Azrin Haji Besar. Round of applause, everyone. Next, Mr. Majid Pire. I request the male audience to please applaud heartily since you have had lunch. Please show it. Thank you. Next, Mr. Danish Said. Dear audience, round of applause, please. Next, Maulana Sayyid Mazhar Abbas Zaidi. Last but not the least, our session moderator, Dr. Muhammad Iskandar Shah. Thank you, sir. Please be seated. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now have a brief break for afternoon tea. Following this,
To call on stage are today's keynote speakers, Dr. Muhammad Fauzi Abu Hussain from University of Technology, Malaysia. Mr. Muhammad Irfan Ahmed, he's head of Sharia Compliance Department, Bank Islami, Pakistan. Sir, please. Our presenters for today are Mr. Tosif Azad from College of Business and Economics, Qasim University, Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Ms. Sidra Ayub from University of Management and Technology, Lahore. Ms. Aisha Muniza from NSIF University, Malaysia. To officially commence this session, it is my profound honor to invite Dr. Muhammad Fauzi Abu Hussain. He's chairman of Academy of Islamic Civilization, University of Technology, Malaysia. A huge round of applause. Sir, please. Ji. That's okay. Yeah. Right. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And very good afternoon, everyone. And thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, our distinguished professor,
Professor Dr. Shahib Haidar Rashid, the chair sessions for this technical session, and we also have another presenter speakers for this first technical session. We have Dr. Tosif, Professor Aisha, and also, not mistaken, Prof. Hassan, Dr. Hassan. And thank you very much, and it is a great honor, it's a great pleasure to be here at the 8th World Islamic Economics and Finance Conference. Anyway, I'm honored to the organizer who has invited me for this important forum. As we are at this technical session, with the theme I read from this booklet is Advancing Islamic Economics and Finance, a Stakeholders' Role. Anyway, my speech or my talk will be focusing on the role of halal certifications, which probably a little bit different or deviates from the main discourse for today's conference. But anyway, I try to relate it on the Islamic economics perspective anyway. Yep. So when we talk about halal certifications or the halal term, it has a broader meaning. Right? It's not only on the dietary food and etc. And we believe that is a religious obligations, including to have a halal finance or halal financings, halal financial system and etc. And from the religious obligations, it's now become a crucial economic and political strategy, at least from the perspective of Malaysia, or in the case of Malaysia, as I'm from Malaysia and I've been doing research and doing study on halal auditing, halal certification and etc. And I won't talk something that not related to my area. Anyway, this speech, inshallah, I will focus on, or will explore the intricate or interplay of faith, economy, and politics in shaping halal certification, halal industry especially, focusing on its sustainability and future direction. As we know that halal, everyone knows, I believe most of us are Muslim, and we believe that we understand that halal means permissible. It's something that what Islam allows us to do, allow us to consume. And it's not just a dietary regulation, it encompasses a comprehensive ethical framework covering food, finance, lifestyle, cosmetic, and tourism as well. Malaysia stands at the forefront of the global economy. This is what we call halal beyond food. It's more than food. We have been talking about the Islamic finance and etc. since this morning. And we look into the global halal economy. In the case of Malaysia, it boosting the industry that contribute nearly 11% to the Malaysian national GDP and employs over 700,000 people. This success is driven by a strong regulatory framework, like what we have in Islamic finance and etc. And in Malaysia, we have been focusing in developing halal framework much earlier actually than the Islamic banking and finance. And the government strongly support the halal industry, halal certification, and this successful achievement also contribute by the consumer demand, both domestically and internationally. The Malaysian government actively promotes the halal industry through policies, research, and incentive that encourage business to adapt halal certification. This concerted effort has positioned Malaysia as a global leader in halal standards and assurance. I have to speed up my presentation anyway. This is the market trend. We can see the growing demand of halal, halal industry, halal consumption, and etc. That including the halal Islamic finance and so on. The growing interest is duly because of this contributed by two factors, two reasons. First, the belief that halal products are cleaner, healthier, and tastier. And second, massive acceptance of halal among the global population. Foreign food in some countries, such as in Europe, have become assimilated and local tastes are changing, encouraged by global tourism and reverse colonizations. Muslim awareness towards halal certification contribute to boost in halal industry. In the case of Malaysia, we are actually multiracial, multicultural society. The consumer market is highly competitive and the non-Muslim holds the majority of the market share. The situation in Malaysia is quite different because although we are Muslim majority and the non-Muslim constitute almost 40%, something like that, but the key driver of the halal business are led by the non-Muslim, especially Chinese. So there is the beginning in 1970s, for example, there is a rising demand from the public for halal insurance, especially in the food industry, and this demand arose from growing Muslim populations and a desire of reliable certification to ensure compliance with Islamic dietary laws. Okay, so to cut it short, what we always see in Malaysian context, we have introduced quite numbers of halal standards. We introduced the halal certification and etc. It is to meet the consumer demand, like the Islamic finance, actually to meet the demand from the society. However, the halal certifications, what we have right now, I'm looking from the political economy or political ecology perspective, is just more than a just compliance. It serves as a tool for economic diplomacy and national branding. Malaysia has successfully leveraged halal certifications to expand trade relationship and strengthen its geopolitical standing within the Muslim world. The Malaysian government has strategically positioned halal certification as a means of fostering international collaboration and attracting foreign investment. We have a few initiatives, like in Malaysia, we have Halal Industry Master Plan. National Halal Policy is expected to be launched in 2025, 2035. That is a long-term strategy in creating more holistic and conducive halal ecosystem to ensure Malaysia remains a halal global leader. In the National Halal Policy that will be launched this year, it focuses on the legislation, certification, recognition, technology and innovation, and etc. With this interesting development, it would lead the halal industry to a new level. However, from the political, ecological perspective, there is a debate or there is a critics on the dominance of state actors like religious department or JAKIM that lead to concern over monopolizations and lack of inclusivity. Because in Malaysia, the only one, unlike in other countries, the government or the certification body is open to the non-governmental organization. But in Malaysia, religious department has the sole authority to produce or to certify, to assure the product is halal, certified halal or not. So there is a bad and good about this approach. Then it comes a call for more participatory model that includes non-state actors, such as industry player, consumer associations, and independent certification bodies. So balancing religious obligation with economic aspiration present both opportunities and challenges that must be addressed holistically. intersection of global trade policies and halal standard introduce further complexity where Malaysia must navigate international regulatory framework while preserving the religious sanctity of halal certification. Okay, before I conclude, I would like to throw this something to be pondered, since our sessions today talk about stakeholders. Nowadays we talk about this ethics and sustainability and etc. Right. Since we talk about these ethical values, sustainability, and halal cannot be put aside, because we produce, we certify products halal must follow the halal dietary standard and regulation, etc. But something is missing when we certifying the products halal or not. On the ethical aspect, we do not taking care how do they produce, right? Do they use the proper, did they pay a proper wage to the labor, for example? Do they taking care about these environment, etc.? Although the product is halal, but the process they use, something that need to be look into. Right? So it's something that we need to taking care to look into, moving away from the narrow focus on the shareholders' value maximization and embracing a more holistic approach that consider the needs of all, not only taking care about the profit maximization. Yes, why in case of Malaysia, for example, the non-Muslim, they are very eager, they are very passionate to get halal certification, is solely because of the profit maximizations. But then we have to look into beyond the halal certification by adding ethical and sustainable aspects of the halal standards. I think with that, since I've already been given quite a few notes to conclude my sessions, I think that's all. I can say that something that we need to think further, not only to certify this product is halal or not, but go beyond that from ethical, sustainability aspect, etc. With that, thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, sir, for your steadfast dedication to research excellence, so persuasively demonstrated through the depth and quality of your presentation. Moving forward with the session, I now like to invite Mr. Tausif Azad to approach podium and present his paper. Sir, please. A huge round of applause. Sir.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. One thing is that now Brother Fauzi, he discussed about the halal, and I was observing that on my right side, my daughters and sisters, they are very happy because he said halal cosmetics, and they are very happy, mashallah. And after that they become attentive. Oh, halal, my cosmetics. So now, and the second thing is that I think so you have heard about the Wright brothers. When Wright brothers, they have this invention of aeroplane. So the people, those are living there, they are very happy. And then they arrange a lunch or dinner or something like that. And first they call the elder brother, please say something. He said, I'm not very good in the speech or debate like that. So my brother, he will come and he will say something. So then they invited the younger brother. When he came, he said, what I want to say, my already brother has said it. And what I want to say, Brother Fauzi has done all the things. And the last thing is that my voice is very good, very good. When people are listening, they are sleeping. So, and credit goes to me. So if you are not sleeping, I will be very, really sad. So you have to sleep, inshallah. But when I saw that Brother Fauzi, he said about the cosmetic like this. So this side is very sad. So now I'm talking about wealth. Now they are very healthy. Huh? So my topic is wealth management and investment opportunities and challenges. This is not good. Wealth is wealth. Mal, everyone has the love in his heart with the mal. Al-malu wal-banuna zinatul hayatu dunya. But Quran again says, innamal amwalu wa auladukum fitna. This is your test. Test hai. Khair. You know, interest from the morning we are talking about interest. Interest is not good. It is if someone will do that, he will go to fire and this, that. So interest is same. So I'm not talking about the interest. Actually, we have some questions about the wealth. You know, I will discuss later on. कि कैसे कमाया गया, कैसे किया गया. But wealth, how to earn, how to spend, how to collect, how to accumulate, how to, the number of questions always in my mind. The same as all the brothers, like Mustanir, he is always thinking about the wealth. And now he's working in the bank, so he will earn a lot of money from this. So, I will not. No, I will not. Okay, one thing is that I'm not following these things. It's rubbish. One thing is that not rubbish in that sense. So one thing is very much important. I don't know where is that. Leave it. Whenever we have any research, generally what is happening nowadays, we have the data, we have the statistical packages, and then crunching the data, and we have the result, and there's interpretation. It is okay. But especially when the subjects are going to be developed, we have to see what is the base of this subject. What is the basic definitions? If we don't know the definitions, if we know the basis of that, whatever the research you have to do, it has no meaning. They're fruitless. So especially wealth, we have not the exact definition of wealth. But in the secular economy, in the conventional system, when we are discussing about the wealth, so wealth is that, what is that? If you have something and that thing has a value, if you want to give something, you have to take the money. This is wealth. But if something is that, you have that, but if someone will take, you will give the money to that person, take the money and take this thing. It means that is not wealth. For example, when I'm living somewhere else and we have a lot of rubbish and junk in our home, and we are putting outside our home, and we ask someone, please take 10 real, 10 rupees, $10, and take this rubbish. That rubbish is not wealth. Understand? And if that thing has value, but we are not allowed to use that, for example, the rubbish and the junk which we have, we don't want to use, we are giving to someone and giving also money. So, in Islam, what is the definition of wealth? If you remember, the very historical event when in the street of Medina, someone is announcing, sharab, this khamar, wine is haram, wine is haram, wine is haram. So there is one narration from Anas bin Malik. I was in one house of Tala or something like that, and I am distributing this khamar, sharab or wine, and that was valuable. Everyone said, give me. That has a value. When the announcement we heard, Tala asked me, throw it, don't use it, throw in the street of Medina. And people have this observed historically, in the street of Medina there is a lot of wine was there. What does it mean? If Sharia is not allowing us, that is not wealth. Even that has a value. Last 5 minutes. Oh, this is not value. So if that wealth is, which has no money for us, no value for us, even that has a value. Wine has a value. If you go into the Western countries, you can see there's a lot of bars and a lot of clubs are there, and they're distributing and they're earning a lot of money, and there's different qualities of beer and the wine is there. But that for Islam, from the Muslim that has no wealth. So wealth management in Islam is not as we have in the conventional system. This is under the Sharia, under Quran and Sunnah. Then we will explain how to collect it, how to spend it, and all these things. So when we are spending, it is different. What is the actual one thing which I have to discuss? That is a mental account. What is your mental account? Quran says when you are spending in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you will get more than 700 times. You must know in the Surah Baqarah. There is 700 times. It means when we are spending, this is not our wealth. Our wealth is akhirah. So this worldly and akhirah, life hereafter, both are integrated. And this integrated system, this concept has a different definitions, different system. The wealth manager, when he is advising you, advising in a different way. He is not advising in that way which we have in the conventional system. Conventional system is different. Islamic system is totally different. It's a unique values. When we have the management doesn't mean as we have in the conventional system. Because our system has a different risk. When we say the risk and return, our return is different. Our return is not that when Aisha radiallahu anha, she was fasting and she has some different things she has, and she distributed among the Muslims, and the night time, when the time of breaking fast, and she said to her servant, please give me something. No, we haven't. You distributed everything. Nothing. Oh, okay. But whatever distributed, that is my wealth. This is not my wealth, which is saved. Huh? And Prophet said, this is not your mal. Mal is that is which you have spent in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Other is the mal of your children, your inheritance, and what is that? Huh? So when we have the management not in that scenario which we have in the convention, the secular system. Our scenario is completely different. We have to see that how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the sunnah, what is that? How can we manage all the things? Still we have 5 minutes, huh? No? Okay, 2. So, what we are saying is that wealth is corrupt, dirty wealth. That is wealth, but that is corrupt, which we are earning in the haram way. That is not my wealth. Even if, as we are saying, when you are spending, in Surah Tawbah, yesterday I was reading that, when you are spending in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, your mal is becoming pure. Even you are paying the zakat from that mal, your mal is not becoming pure. It is corrupt. It is dirty. Because you earned in a different way. Even you are spending all in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You will not get the reward. Reward is not there. You are not becoming muttaqi. So this. And what is the impact of this dirty wealth, corrupt wealth? Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, your body, there is one flesh, that is your heart. If you are eating the bad things, haram things, which earned by the haram way, your whole body has the effect of that. And when you are eating in the pure things, and Surah Maida, there is a surah, ayat number 100, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, the things which are tayyib, even they are very small, is better than is a very big things, a big amount, that is khabis. And yani bad things are, even they are too much, they are not good. Small things, even they are very small. So small is better than large, if that is tayyib, if that is good. So it's from the Islamic point of view, the wealth manager should know. He has to know that what mal is, what wealth is bad and what wealth is good, and if it's good, how we can increase it. Either we are so he has to tell before to his client that you have to pay this much of zakat from it, how much you have to spend in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, how much you have to save, how much you need for your children, and so on. In that way, you can earn the reward. Reward not here, but is the return. And what is the risk? Risk is that when you are not spending in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, there's a lot of risk. So the definition of risk, the definition of return is different. So 10 minutes more? He has given me 10 minutes, inshallah, no problem. And Professor Shabir is my friend. He doesn't hear anything. So they are saying to me, I have no preparation today, so this is good for me. But nobody is sleeping, so I'm very sad. My voice is really very good, and the people are generally, they are listening and sleeping. But unfortunately, you didn't sleep. And I didn't say to my daughters about it, cosmetic is halal, even still halal, huh? Don't worry. Jazakumullah khair. Thank you, Waleed.
We want some more claps now. Sir, your presentation has brought rigor to our session. I would like to invite Ms. Sidra Ayub to deliver her paper on
Start with the name of Allah, who is very beneficent and merciful. Good afternoon and assalamu alaikum to everyone. Myself, Sidra Ayub, and from UMT Lahore. I am here to present my research on the topic of a comparative study of takaful insurance and conventional insurance comparison between Pakistan, Bangladesh, and Malaysia. As we know, there are two global insurance sectors in global market, like conventional insurance and takaful insurance. A conventional insurance is totally against Islamic Sharia rules, and Islamic takaful is according to the rules of regulations of Islamic Sharia. Being a Muslim, we have to follow the rules of Islamic Sharia, and the main purpose of this research to identify the performance of takaful industry in the countries like Pakistan, Bangladesh, and Malaysia. There is majority of Muslims, and it will be helps to understand the economic impact of ethical and religious compliances, as well as it will be support to policymakers, stakeholders to make their decisions very well. According to the literature review, there are many researches on insurance of takaful or convention as well. Some researches used takaful sectors isolation additionally. Many studies overlook microeconomic factors, and many just focus on the efficiency level of their performances. But this study is the comprehensive analysis of both these microeconomic factors and efficiency level. We have the 10 years data from 2012 to 22. There are 16 takaful and 16 conventional insurance institute. We were selected, 5 from Pakistan, 5 from Bangladesh, and 6 from Malaysia. There are 160 observations, above 300 annual reports we select from their websites and collect the data, and we use Stata, eViews, and Access to proceed that data. When we talk about methodology, there are 3 different variables. इंडिपेंडेंट वेरिएबल्स में फाइनेंशियल रिस्क आ जाता है और आपका सोशो इकोनॉमिक फैक्टर्स हैं, बट डिपेंडेंट वेरिएबल्स में रिटर्न ऑन एसेट एंड रिटर्न ऑन इक्विटी मैटर करते हैं. There are 2 models. One is based on return on asset, and the second one is based on return on equity. When we talk about regression analysis, तो ओवरऑल जो तकाफुल सेक्टर है दे परफॉर्म मच बेटर देन कन्वेंशनल सेक्टर्स बिकॉज देयर इज अ size of firms impact negatively on conventional insurance. Takaful faced somehow इनके implementation में issues हैं. That's why.
Sidra, you can breathe.
Okay, sir.
Breathe.
Sir, okay. It's okay. Thank you so much. There are two independent variables we have selected. One is based on return on asset and second one is return on equity. On the base of return on asset, conventional insurance slightly little bit better on their performances than Takaful, but on the base of return on equity, Takaful is performing much better than conventional. Thank you. There is no such big difference of financial performance between both sectors while we do the comparison in Pakistan. But when we do the comparison in Malaysia, there is Takaful performing much better than conventional insurance. Descriptive analysis, according to the descriptive analysis, there is not much big difference between the conventional insurance and Takaful in Pakistan again, as well as regression analysis. And financial performance of the Takaful sector is best in Bangladesh and Malaysia as well, according to the descriptive analysis. Now, I want to conclude this. According to my research, Takaful perform much better than conventional. Somehow, Takaful face challenges with the PRT variables, but is less selected by the firm size. Conventional insurance का firm size का negative impact है, that's why the results are impact negatively. Both sectors perform similarly in solvency and liquidity. Takaful also shows better performance in microeconomic factors like GDP, inflation, and financial development. In Pakistan, there is no major difference, but in Bangladesh and Malaysia, Takaful outperforms than conventional insurance, so the firm size negatively impacted Takaful. Return on equity provides better comparison in performance, but return on asset provides a negative impact of Takaful. Recommendations में यही है कि it's a 10 years data. Further researchers can use more data than this, and independent variables, you can enhance your independent variables in future researches, and future studies can include additional region where the Takaful industry is active, like Indonesia and other emerging markets, other than this, Pakistan, Bangladesh, and Malaysia. And it's all from my side. Thank you so much.
To shed light on financial growth and role of Islamic principle, I now like to invite Ms. Aisha Muniza to the podium.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya wal mursaleen wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in. Ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. The topic which I'm going to discuss today is about analyzing insolvency risks in Islamic banks, lessons from global case studies of failed financial institutions. So basically, the motivation for our research is, as you know, when we compare the differences between conventional and Islamic banks, we believe that there are significant differences in the way it is operated, as well as procedural, substantive aspects, including regulatory aspects as well. So therefore, we believe that there should be some differences in the way how we treat Islamic banks in case of liquidation as well. So with this objective, what we have done in this research is that we examine some specific cases. For example, one of the cases which we have examined in this paper is Ihlas Finance of Turkey, Islamic Bank of Thailand, Islamic Investment House, Islamic National Bank, and Islamic Bank Limited of South Africa as well. Next, please. All right, so in the literature review, we tried to find out what are the main causes for Islamic banks to go into liquidation, and we found that there are three major causes for this mentioned in the literature. One is poor governance and supervision. The other one is underdeveloped insolvency proceedings. And the final one is absence of a Sharia governance framework in some of these countries. The methodology that we have chosen in this paper is basically a qualitative methodology whereby we have done a desk review using the case studies. Now quickly we will go to the results. But when we look at the results, you will see that how we have presented the results in the slides is we have specifically put the reasons for the case studies that we have used in this paper. But due to constraint in time, I'll just mention the main causes that we found using the case studies. So number one is we find that there is poor governance. So when we talk about poor governance here, we are not only talking about Sharia governance per se, but Sharia governance is good if corporate governance structure is good in these institutions as well. So when your corporate governance is not so good, there is an adverse implication on the Sharia governance you adopt as well. So because of this, there is a domino effect whereby the human governance part is also lacking. At the same time, the procedures adopted by the financial institutions are not so much aligned with maqasidul Sharia or objectives of Sharia. For example, in some of the institutions, it's found that the names they use for the contracts is Sharia compliant. For example, it could be a murabaha or a mularaba, but the end result is that when they try to implement these contracts, they don't follow the Sharia principles. So name is there, but in essence, they still follow the conventional ways of doing the transactions. And this happens because of lack of internal control mechanisms such as Sharia review, Sharia audit, Sharia risk management, so on and so forth. And bear in mind that some of these case studies that we have chosen, these incidents happened long time back, like in 1980s, for instance. So as you know, in 1980s, we didn't even have a proper Sharia governance framework which has been enacted to start with. That was the time we were struggling with the basics of Islamic finance when it came to institutionalization of it. So having said that, let's move to the final part, the conclusion. We understand that Islamic finance is different from conventional finance. Therefore, there are certain unique operational challenges faced by the Islamic banks when they start their operations, especially if there is no Sharia governance framework enacted in that particular jurisdiction. It's not in all jurisdictions that we have Sharia governance frameworks specifically applied by the Islamic banks. So here are some of the recommendations that we are proposing. We believe that we need to ensure that there is good internal control mechanisms established in Islamic banks, and the regulatory authority should take part in this process, because unless and until the regulatory authority comes and give direction to the Islamic banks, they might not be able to adopt a high level of internal control mechanisms, because at the end of the day, if you want to introduce Sharia audit or Sharia review or any type of internal control mechanisms, it will affect your profitability in the sense that there are some operational costs that you have to bear. Therefore, the regulatory guidance is very important, and we also need to overall improve the financial literacy, and we need to give risk management training to the financial institutions as well, so that at least they can develop a comprehensive crisis management plan and ensure that when it comes to liquidation, it shouldn't be because of the inability of the bank to follow proper Sharia governance mechanisms. And another finding that we have in this regard is that when it comes to insolvency situations, Islamic banks should be able to resolve their internal conflicts, and there should be a regulatory mechanism put in place to save them, in the sense that for a small cause, negligible cause, they shouldn't go into liquidation unless there is a very huge scandal going on or something which is beyond the control of the regulatory authority. Therefore, rescue mechanisms need to be formulated for Islamic banks, just like how we have it for conventional banks in some of the countries. So with this, I conclude my presentation. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you, ma'am. That was a very well-run presentation. Now I would like to ask the technical team to play the pre-recorded presentation of Mr. Dasuki Sakak.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and very good day for all of you. Today I am Muhammad Dasuki Sakak, librarian from University Putra Malaysia, would like to share the paper entitled Malaysia and New Zealand Experience, Wakaf versus Performance-Based Funding for Sustainable Academic Library for the 8th World Islamic Economic and Finance Conference, WIEFC 2025. So there are 4 authors for this paper, includes me. So another 3 authors, which is Dr. Hazal Sa'ari from University Teknologi Mara, and then the next is Hafiza Adnan from UNITA International University Malaysia, and also Anne Golding from Victoria University of Wellington, New Zealand. So as the introduction, background for this study, academic library play a significant role in advancing education and societal development. However, the diminishing government funding and rapid technological change have been accelerated the financial pressure globally. And for the purpose of the study will explore the sustainability and strategic adaptation of 2 constructing funding model, which is academic in the context of academic library, which is Malaysia Wakaf in the term of Islamic endowment, and also New Zealand Performance-Based Research Fund, in abbreviation PBRF. So for the literature review, we compress the previous author funding in the aspect of definition, finding sources, sustainability, governance, community engagement, alignment with SDG, and the challenges between Wakaf funding model and also PBRF funding model. So I just would like to share definition of Wakaf and PBRF. So the Wakaf we can define as the Islamic endowment supporting educational and social initiative through sustainable funding from NAFA 2019, while PBRF we define as government-funded mechanism allocating resources based on research performance from the Robert 2013. Okay, for methodology, the study adopt a qualitative multiple case study approach to explore and compare the impact of Wakaf funding in Malaysian academic library with the PBRF model in New Zealand. This multiple study design is particularly suited for this research as it enables in-depth exploration of real-world phenomena within a diverse institutional and cultural context. So we hope the design is especially valuable for capturing variation and commonality in funding practice, thereby offering rich contextualized insight into institutional adaptation and also the innovation. University. There are 6 criteria we set to determine the case study places, which is first we look the criteria as the institutional and geographical diversity. Second is representative framework. Third is governance structure and funding model. And the next is culture and financial contrast. And also we look at the ethical and practical consideration. And finally the participant as the informant for the research study. And of course for the study we deal with the librarian as the manager for the library. So there are 6 figures in the full paper. I just would like to explain the figure 6 as the model and also PBRF model. So in summarize, we found that Wakaf more concerned on community-driven approach, while PBRF is more on measurable the academic output performance. Theme for this qualitative research, as we know, qualitative finding will arrange by theme, and then we compare between Wakaf and also PBRF, and the next column is lesson learned that we capture from the theme. So for first theme is about community-centric fundraising, and the next is strategic use of entrepreneurial competency, and the next is ethical stewardship and spiritual transparency, and the next is resources expansion and innovation. We also find about the building credibility through community trust, and finally about the dual role of service and community engagement. Highlight the strengths and challenges inherent in each framework. So Wakaf is grounded in Islamic principles of ethical stewardship and community trust, and Wakaf demonstrates its potential to foster inclusivity, long-term sustainability and alignment with the SDG. However, traditional mechanism and centralized governance limit Wakaf's capability and adaptability. In contrast, PBRF model promoting research of excellence. However, is based on the research performance and is limit the societal engagement. Despite this different, both models face the common barrier related the governance, innovation, and also resources diverse. Some lack of in this model and this paper. So we would like to suggest the the future research should focus on the following item. First is encouraging transparent financial reporting, And also for the research, also look at the analyzing long-term sustainability metric, also can exploring the cross cultural adaptability, and look also incorporating advanced analytical tool, and maybe future research also can focusing on stakeholder perspective on WACAF and also PBRF, and evaluate the integration of the SDG on the both mode, and finally testing the hybrid model finding that we propose. Okay, that's all my presentation. Thank you.
Now coming towards the end, I would like to call our closing keynote speaker, Mr. Mohammad Irfan Haider, Bank Islami Pakistan. Clapping, please.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم. I have a lot of things, interesting things to share, but I think students are not in a mood to listen anymore. And rest assured, I will not take much time, and but few minutes you have to listen to me, because nobody listen to me at home. So you have to bear me for few minutes. First of all, I would like to thank you and appreciate Minhaj University for conducting such a remarkable conference, and my distinguished guest speakers, honorable guests and scholars, professors and students, and ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. It is really an honor for me to address this gathering today, and the topic which I have chosen, that is what are the roles of stakeholders in developing Islamic economics and finance. So I will be try my level best to be very crisp, and firstly, I would like to say that Islamic economics is not a system for conducting transaction, rather it is a framework, and that framework is based on justice, ethics, and betterment of society. And Islamic finance is part of Islamic economics, and that operates, Islamic finances operates on the basis of Sharia compliance and fairness and risk sharing. So in Islamic economics, riba is strictly prohibited, as you know, people very well. And it has been almost 25 years since the initiation of the second attempt of Islamic banking in Pakistan especially. And now we are moving towards complete Islamization, and that's has become our constitutional obligation. So in this context, I believe the stakeholders of Islamic bankings have an ever greater responsibility than before, and therefore I would like to share some thoughts on their responsibilities and role in the complete conversion process. Firstly, in my opinion, the primary responsibility lies with the Islamic financial institutions, and to come up with certain innovative products and services. It has been observed for many years that Islamic banking practitioners are coming with only replicating conventional banking products. But now this is the need of the time to come up with those products that specifically target the segments which have a limited access to financial resources, that is the SME sector. The secondly, being one of the major stakeholder is government, and government should come up with some legal support, because banks are facing so much difficulty, and they are reluctant to provide financing to the SME sector, because they find it difficult to liquidate the security in case of default. So the third, alongside this, I would like to highlight the growing importance of IT and fintech. At one point of time, IT was considered the back office function, but now the case has been changed, and now the IT is considered as the front business line function. And when we talk about the Bank Islami, since I'm from Bank Islami, so Bank Islami has also come up with so many IT-based and innovative products like one-touch banking. Your thumb is actually your bank. You don't need to carry ATM cards and checkbooks to execute banking transactions. You can execute any banking transaction through your thumb impression. So these, alongside with these stakeholders, last but not the least, very important aspect that I feel that has not been adequately addressed yet is the area of research. Perhaps I'm wrong, but it seems me that the research is not being executed on the topics that truly prepares Islamic finance practitioner for real world problems. It would be much better if collaborative approach is adopted, and under which the universities take real life problem from the industries and practitioner and provide solutions based on their research. In this way the outcome would be more fruitful. As I mentioned earlier, that much focus has been provided on replicating the conventional banking products. So now this is very critical to move towards complete Islamization. Research should be aimed at creating innovative, authentic solution aligned with the Islamic principles rather than simply copying conventional products. In conclusion, in advancing Islamic economics and finance is a collective responsibility that requires the active participation of all stakeholders, be it government, Islamic financial institutions, regulators, academia, etc. As we move forward, let us affirm our commitment to promote a financial system that is just, equitable, and sustainable. This is all from my side. Thank you.
I now have the privilege of handing over the session to Professor Dr. Shabib Haider Sayed for his insightful concluding remarks on today's proceedings. Sir, please.
Before going to my concluding remarks, if somebody have a question to the speakers, if somebody want to ask any question from the speaker.
Any one of you who wants to ask any question from the speakers, he can ask, but make sure the questions are concise and pertinent to the presenter's topic. Please.
Islamic banking in different universities. So are they providing any research funds to them? Because without research funding, it's not possible to bring or the outcome which they want. Or because if they want that students should go to industry or researchers should go to industry and ask them what are your problems? Why don't they come or go to university and tell them these are our problems? Do you have any solution? This is my question to our guest speaker.
Can you repeat your question as scripts again?
I sum up in a sentence that why the industry don't go to the universities or the faculty and tell them these are our problems. Do you have any solution?
Thank you for your suggestion. I think this is not the case. Multiple times it happened that we approach so much universities and give them research topics as well. And it happened sometimes likewise student or university graduates approached industry practitioners to share some industry real life industry based problems or real life problems. So things are going in good direction, but I think a lot of things yet to be done in this regard.
Thank you very much, sir.
I think the question just now is a very valid question. So I come from INSAF University in Malaysia, which is affiliated with Bank Negara or Central Bank. We have introduced a subject called action-based learning, whereby it's like a mini consultants that we produce, meaning that the industry will come with their real problem and we give our students to resolve the problem within one semester. And in order to get marks for that particular subject, the student will have to satisfy the industry partner as well. So I think this is something that could be considered in this market as well. Action-based learning is really impactful because otherwise the students just learn theory, their soft skills are not developed, and at the end of the day when they go to the market after graduation, we understand that there are a lot of things lacking in them. Eventually, maybe they take a lot of time to get a real job. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Sir, please.
Any other question? Okay, I will say in the end that it was a very thought-provoking sort of session, because I don't know what other have learned. I have learned few things. The definition of wealth in Islam, the return from Islam, what is real return on wealth in Islam. And then I also learned the first time I heard this diplomatic or political intervention in halal and haram. That was something very new for me, and I am thankful to Sidra to provide a quantitative framework for research. The last thing is that it is not that who will go to who, whether academia go to industry or industry go to academia. The thing is that we should be, as a student or researcher, we should be in search of the unresolved questions or for the problems. And we try to use our skills to solve those problems and then go for a research on that. And I like that very idea, action research. Action research is basically a real-time problem solving, that you contact with the industry or industry contact you, you have to focus on the problem and try to solve it. And that is good idea that it is practiced in your university. I think that that is something new for me, that students are allowed to go to industry, get a problem, then try to resolve it as per the satisfaction of that very industry. So with this, I am thankful to all of you for coming here and participated in this intellectual activity. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir, for your inspiring words. I would now like to call Mr. Worthy Vice Chancellor, Professor Dr. Sajid Mahmood. Sir, please join us on stage. I'll be inviting the presenters one by one. Mr. Tosif Azad. Please round up. We want more claps. Ms. Sidra Ayub from University of Management Technology. Ms. Aisha Moniza from Malaysia. आपको भी चाहिए. Now I would be calling our keynote speakers for today. Dr. Muhammad Fauzi Abu Hussain from Malaysia. Please, we need more claps. Mr. Muhammad Irfan Haider from Bank Islami Pakistan. I now would like to call chair of our today's session, Professor Dr. Shabib Haider. Lastly, it is an honor for me to receive the shield as your session coordinator for today. Thank you. Thank you all. It was an honor for me to serve you as your session coordinator today. What a session it was.